For months, I knew my relationship was over, but he refused to let me go. So, I did the one thing that would break us for good. At a wedding, I danced with a stranger a little too closely, let his hand linger a little too long. When he whispered, "Are you sure?" I smiled and said, "I need him to see this." The flash of a camera caught my eye, and I knew it had worked. The next morning, a screenshot landed in his inbox. He called me, voice shaking. "Why would you do this?" I whispered back, "Because you wouldn't let me leave." For months, I knew my relationship was over. I told him it was over. I said it in every way I could, softly, through tears, through fights, through silence. And every time, he refused to listen. "We can fix this," he said. "I love you." But it wasn't love. It was control. He wouldn't let me go. The first time I told him I wanted to break up, he laughed. Actually laughed. Like I had made a joke. "You're just stressed," he said, rubbing my back like I was some child throwing a tantrum. "We're fine." But we weren't fine. We hadn't been fine in years. At some point, he stopped seeing me as a person with my own wants and needs. I became this thing in his life. Something expected. Something constant. Something he could neglect but never lose. When I tried again, he got angry. He accused me of overreacting. "Relationships have rough patches," he snapped. "You don't just walk away because things get hard." But I wasn't walking away because things were hard. I was walking away because I couldn't stand the sight of him anymore. Because when he touched me, my skin crawled. Because I wanted out. I said it in so many different ways. He ignored me every single time. Then one night, he grabbed my wrist when I tried to leave mid-argument. Just hard enough to make my breath catch. Just long enough to make me realize I wasn't allowed to leave. So I stopped trying. Not because I wanted to stay, but because I needed to be smart about it. And at a wedding, months later, I found my way out. It was my cousin's wedding. A huge, outdoor wedding at a historic estate in Charleston. The kind of wedding with chandeliers hanging from oak trees and candles floating in glass bowls. He didn't even want to go. "You can go alone," he told me, like he was doing me a favor by letting me attend an event for my own family. But I told him I wanted him there. I needed him there. Because I knew what I was going to do. I got ready in silence that day. He barely looked up from his phone. Didn't tell me I looked nice. Didn't say much of anything. He just sighed as we got in the car like I was inconveniencing him. The wedding was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made my chest ache. The vows. The love. The way the bride and groom looked at each other like nothing else in the world mattered. I used to think I'd have that with him. I don't know when I stopped believing it. I drank champagne and smiled for pictures. He barely left his chair. And then the music started. He never danced. Not with me, not with anyone. "You know I don't like that kind of thing," he always said. I stood at the edge of the dance floor, watching couples sway under the string lights, feeling something crack inside of me. That's when I noticed him. Tall. Broad shoulders. Dark hair. A stranger in a suit with his sleeves rolled up. A little tipsy, a little charming. And looking right at me. I held his gaze longer than I should have. And then he smiled. It was an invitation. I could hear my own heart pounding as I walked toward him. His hand was warm when it slid into mine. "Dance with me?" I nodded. He pulled me close. The music was slow, the kind of song that made people press together, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces. I let my hand settle on his shoulder. Let his palm slide across my lower back. His breath tickled my ear. "You okay?" I exhaled slowly. "Yeah." We swayed. And then I leaned in. Not much. Not enough for anyone to call it cheating. But just enough for it to look like it. His fingers pressed lightly into my waist. I let my nails drag across the back of his neck. I saw the flash of a camera out of the corner of my eye. I knew someone had captured the moment. And I knew he saw it. For a second, nothing happened. The music played. The dance floor swayed around us. The man in my arms, his name didn't matter, held me a little closer, waiting for my next move. I didn't move. I didn't need to. Because when I turned my head just slightly, I saw him. He was watching. Sitting stiffly at the table, fists clenched, jaw tight. His phone was face down now, forgotten. His eyes locked on me, on us. I had his full attention for the first time in months. The stranger dipped me slightly, his hand firm on my back, and I let my head fall, let my hair brush his arm, let the moment stretch. I counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then, he stood. My heartbeat stuttered. This was it. For a split second, I panicked. Would he storm onto the dance floor? Cause a scene? Shove the guy? Drag me away? He was unpredictable when he was angry, and I had never willingly set fire to his control like this before. He took a step forward. Then another. The stranger noticed. "Is that your boyfriend?" he murmured, his lips barely moving. "Something like that," I said. He tensed. "Should I be worried?" I swallowed. Not about him. But I should have been. Because then, he didn't come for me. He pulled out his phone. I stiffened. He wasn't going to fight. He wasn't going to yell. He was going to play dirty. My stomach flipped as I imagined the possibilities. Was he texting my mom? My friends? Blowing up the family group chat with some twisted version of the truth? I didn't get the chance to find out, because my phone buzzed in my purse. And then again. And again. I pulled away from the stranger, heart racing. I need to go. His brow furrowed. You okay? No. But I nodded anyway. Thanks for the dance. I turned and walked away, forcing myself to move slowly, like nothing was wrong, like my chest wasn't tight with something sharp and suffocating. I didn't check my phone right away. I needed to see him first. He was outside now, standing in the dim light near the venue's garden, his back to me. His phone was in his hand, screen glowing. I took a breath, squared my shoulders, and walked up behind him. He didn't turn around. Really? I said quietly. Nothing. I took a step closer. Who'd you text? A slow exhale. Then he turned. And the look on his face stopped me cold. He wasn't furious. He wasn't smug. He wasn't even hurt. He looked amused, like I had just stepped into a trap. And that's when my phone buzzed again. I finally pulled it out. My stomach dropped, because staring back at me was a text from a number I hadn't seen in years. My ex. Wow. Didn't expect to hear from you again. Miss me? A chill ran down my spine. I looked up at him. He was smirking now. Casual. Easy. Like he was the one dancing with a stranger, not me. Like I had just made a mistake. My hands went cold. What did you do? He shrugged. You wanted to play games. My chest felt tight. So you texted my ex? He tilted his head. Just thought he should know you were available. Figured he might have something to say about that. I gripped my phone, my fingers numb. I never told him why I left my ex. Because the truth was worse than any lie he could have imagined. And now? Now, that door was open again. And I had no idea what was waiting on the other side. My hands were shaking. I tightened my grip on my phone, forcing myself to breathe. The words on the screen blurred, but I could still feel them. That name, the one I had erased from my life years ago, was staring back at me. I looked up at him. He was still smirking, watching me like he won. Like I had just fallen into his hands, right where he wanted me. I swallowed the lump in my throat. You're disgusting. He chuckled. Oh, I'm disgusting? He gestured lazily toward the dance floor. You were 2 seconds away from climbing into that guy's lap in front of our family. You wouldn't let me leave, I hissed. So I made you. His jaw twitched. But he didn't explode. He didn't yell. Instead, he took a step closer. His voice dropped lower. I hope it was worth it. And then, just like that, he walked away. I didn't follow. I just stood there, heart pounding, ears ringing. Then, another buzz. I looked down. My ex again. Guess who I ran into tonight? I froze. No. No way. Another message popped up. A picture. And my stomach plummeted. It was a photo of him. My boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend. Whatever the hell he was now. Sitting at a bar, drink in hand, looking right at the camera. The text came a second later. Small world, huh? I felt my blood turn to ice. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. He planned this. I turned in a full circle, my pulse hammering in my ears. He was gone. He left. He actually left. No last word, no dramatic exit, just gone. Which meant he wanted me alone when I saw that text. I clicked out of the conversation and called him. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. I stared at my screen, my breath coming in shallow bursts. This was bad. This was so bad. Because if he was with my ex, then he was about to hear everything. And I had no idea how this was going to end. I stood there, gripping my phone so tightly my fingers ached. My heart pounded against my ribs as my eyes flicked between the last text from my ex and the picture of the man I had just escaped. He was sitting across from him. The two of them together. Talking. Maybe laughing. Maybe tearing me apart piece by piece. My stomach twisted. I needed to get out of here. I barely remembered making my way inside, past the still swaying couples, past my family members, past the bridesmaids giggling over a bridesmaid's bouquet toss. Their laughter felt wrong. Too loud, too bright, like I had walked into a scene from someone else's life while mine was crumbling. I pushed through the crowd, nearly colliding with my cousin near the entrance. Whoa, she said, steadying me. Are you okay? I tried to nod, but I knew I wasn't pulling it off. Her brows furrowed. Hey, what happened? I could feel the weight of her concern. The kindness. It made my throat tighten. If I opened my mouth, I would either scream or break down sobbing. So instead, I shoved my phone at her. She read the messages. The picture. Her face darkened. Oh hell no. And then, before I could stop her, she grabbed my wrist and dragged me outside. I stumbled to keep up. Where are we? We're getting answers. And I didn't argue. Because I needed answers too. We found them exactly where I feared we would, at a bar down the street, sitting in a dark corner like two villains in a bad crime movie. They hadn't seen us yet. My ex was smirking, his fingers tapping lazily against his glass, leaning forward like he was enjoying himself. And Heath, the man I had just spent months trying to break free from, was sitting back, watching him, looking calm. Like he wasn't about to rip open my past and present at the same time. Like he hadn't set this up. Something inside me snapped. I walked straight to their table. What the fuck is this? My ex turned first, a slow smile curling on his lips. Hey, stranger. I ignored him. My eyes locked onto him. He didn't look smug. Didn't look guilty. Just calm. That scared me more than anything. I slammed my hands on the table. What the hell did you tell him? He tilted his head. What, you don't want to catch up with an old friend? My ex chuckled. Yeah, babe. It's been a while. I whipped around. Don't call me that. He grinned like he enjoyed my reaction. Relax. We're just reminiscing. I felt my cousin step closer beside me, her presence solid and protective. I turned back to him. Tell me what you said. He shrugged, swirling his drink like he had all the time in the world. I just thought he should know, he said. Know what kind of person you are. That you like to run. My stomach twisted. He said you ghosted him, he continued, his voice smooth. Said you never gave him an explanation. Thought that was kinda unfair. 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 I laughed. A cold, bitter sound. I turned to my ex, and I'm sure you played the perfect victim, huh? His smile didn't reach his eyes. You left without a word. One day, you were there. The next, you were gone. My pulse roared in my ears. I had reasons. Good, painful, damning reasons. But I had buried them deep. And now, in this moment, in front of both of them, I had to make a choice. Lie? Run? Or rip open the truth? I swallowed hard. My voice was steady when I spoke. You choked me. Silence. Everything around us seemed to slow. The bar noise blurred, the lights buzzed faintly, and both men went completely, perfectly still. My cousin sucked in a breath beside me. My ex blinked once. Twice. What? I lifted my chin. The last night we were together, I said. You wrapped your hands around my throat and squeezed. And then, the next morning, you acted like nothing happened. So yeah. I ran. I heard my cousin whisper something sharp under her breath, but I couldn't look at her. I kept my eyes locked on him. My ex. His smirk was gone now. His face was blank. But his fingers had curled into fists. I saw it. Recognized it. My stomach tightened. I didn't. I took a step back. Don't. Don't even try. His jaw clenched. You're twisting things. I huffed out a humorless laugh. Oh, am I? He ran a hand over his face. I was drunk. I took another step back. And that's supposed to make it better? I turned to him. My ex-boyfriend. The man who had orchestrated this whole disaster, thinking he was exposing me. I met his gaze head-on. Is that what you wanted? I asked. To humiliate me? To throw me to the wolves? Something flickered in his eyes. Something I almost thought looked like doubt. I took a shaky breath. Well, congratulations. You got what you wanted. And then I turned and walked out. I barely heard my cousin's words as we left the bar. I barely registered her hand on my shoulder, the way she checked in, the way she stayed with me. It wasn't until we were outside, standing under the dim streetlights, that I let out a shaky breath. I was free. For real this time. Because he had finally seen me. The real me. And there was no more power left for him to hold over me. My ex? I didn't care if I ever saw his face again. And my ex-boyfriend? The one who refused to let me go? He had no choice now. I had burned the bridge. And I wasn't looking back.